Today we have Mobu. Mobu is one of our experienced BAs in the house, and he will be talking us through these emerging technologies. It's going to be very interactive. Please, if you have any questions, I will be monitoring the chat, so you can put it in the chat, and then I can always ask Mobu the question, and he can answer, or one of us can answer it. And so Mobu, please introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, hi everyone. Hope you can all hear me okay.
I can hear you.
Awesome. So just to get a sense in the room, I'm just going to ask a question. If you are a business analyst or you have knowledge within the field, can you give me a thumbs up or something? Awesome. All right. Awesome. All right. So I do identify a lot of names here, and I see a lot of amazing business analysts here. I will start off by saying thank you so much to the Slingstone family for giving me this opportunity. I am a product of Slingstone. Let me put that out there, first of all, because prior to joining Slingstone, a very long time ago, I was a business school grad, full of theoretical knowledge. And it was quite humbling at first to see the practicalities of how the things I learned in business school actually works in real life. And it was a bit different from business school. So so I really thank Slingstone for the part they played. Now, I'm going to start by saying that the world of business analysis is changing. And we are in a very fast changing world. A lot of things are happening at once, and being that most of the people in the room some are already existing business analysts, and I know this, and some maybe they are interested in the industry and they are looking to explore. First of all, I will start by actually just defining what business analysis is, right? So that it gives us a background for those who might just be starting out in their journey. Now, a business analyst is a communicator, right? Who sits at the intersection of the business and the technical team. And a business analyst would typically get involved in the software development lifecycle, or where we are trying to improve processes within the business, trying to re-engineer processes, where we are trying to digitally transform a business way of working. And we will typically look at things from where is the business currently. We can sometimes refer to that as is, or the business operating model. And we also look into where is the business trying to go to, and we conduct something called a gap analysis. And this helps us to compare and contrast what will it take for this business to go in the direction that they are going to, that they want to go to. And basically, it is then our job to help the business, I would call it champion the change. We would take them on the journey to make this change happen in a way that everybody is carried along. Because if you've ever sat in a conversation of, if I call it highly acclaimed technical teams, and you don't have the guidance or you don't have a business analyst who can decipher some of the things they are saying to you in the language you can understand, you might think you found yourself in the land of gibberish, you know. but us as business analysts, the people get used to us being very curious, being in one space, trying to find out. Actually, we go behind the hood and we are asking the technical guys, what are you trying to do? What can, how does it really work? And sometimes these things are not on the surface. So you can't go to a technical guy and just say, oh, yeah, that thing that you said, let's say, for example, I heard you talking about, for example, when we're talking about data, right? I heard you guys kept referring to one-to-many, and you kept referring to yeah, one-to-many objects, and you are referring to entity and all this. What do they mean? Like, you don't necessarily ask the questions in that way. So when you go under the hood, you try to understand what is actually happening. What are you guys actually trying to communicate, so that it makes sense to you, and therefore you can communicate those things in a language that the business themselves will understand. Now, I think that if you follow the trend of the world, especially within the past 3 months or 4 months, one of the key things that have been a very hot topic, and this was brought to light, for example, with the OpenAI tool called ChatGPT. That's what it's been a very hot topic, and it's the concept of AI, you know, artificial intelligence. The concept of AI has been a really serious debate, and a lot of people have been asking the question: will AI replace my job? Right? Will AI replace my job?
To be more specific, will AI replace business analysts? Because that's also questions that are being thrown out there. Are business analysts extinct now with ChatGPT or AI?
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on that?
Awesome. My opinion on that, and after having extensively really looked under the hood of what ChatGPT can do, is that AI cannot replace a business analyst, right? But a business analyst who uses AI, a business analyst who uses AI to get efficiency, or someone who is using AI to optimize their way of working, might do, right? So it's something that we are going to explore on a very practical level tonight. I'm going to be sharing my screen to show you what, you know, some of the things that we can do as business analysts, or some of the things that we typically do as business analysts that AI can enhance. And I'm going to try to make the session quite hands-on and interactive to show you the flaws and the limitations, and why it is that you still need to be trained as a business analyst to really understand how to use AI to optimize your way of working. So that's one of the things that we're going to be exploring. Other things that we're going to be exploring, and I'll probably touch on those first, are what are some of the common tools that we use, and what do we use them for? So I will start with some of the obvious ones. I'll start with a tool like Visio. And I'm actually going to I'm going to have a lot of things open on my screen, and I'm going to make this as practical as possible. Awesome. So I will start with Visio, right? Now, just opening that up. And just a show of hands, I know some of the business analysts here definitely would know of Visio, but is there anyone here who does not know of Visio? If you can raise your hand so that I would know what level I can start the communication at. Anyone who is not familiar? Okay.
All right. I think I've got no, there's no hand up.
No, I have a hand up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. So Visio is a tool that we use to make communications clear between the business language and the technical language around understanding. And we use something called the UML. So the UML simply stands for Unified Modeling Language. And what it is that when we use the UML, anybody who sees what we've done or what we are trying to do understands exactly what we are doing, because whilst you are looking at shapes, the shapes actually mean something. So it's a language that is not dependent on our normal English verbiage, but everybody who sees this, as long as you're within the tech ecosystem and you're knowledgeable in the space, you will understand what it means. So at a high level, that's where tools like Visio come in. And typically we use Visio for process flows, right? That's one of the things that we use Visio for. And also we use Visio for something else we call use case diagrams. And I'll probably show examples of the two of them. And I would show those examples by actually giving an example from one of my own businesses called Flowwork. Yeah. So something as simple as signing up, right? Something as simple as signing up on any platform. There are quite a number of things that are going on that us as business analysts would have to decipher and elicit from the business to actually understand how it is going to work and what is happening at what point. So we use this, and these shapes, for example, this is usually an open, a start or end, as you can see here. This is usually a start or end, and this is basically called a decision point, and these are the processes themselves, right? So for example, on this particular system that we're looking at, right, we start from choosing our purpose on the platform, choose purpose. You enter your name, enter a valid email. Then what is happening next is that the system is checking if the email is valid. If it's not in a valid format, the system will report an error. The email entered isn't valid. Please enter a valid email. If it is good, the next thing is that the user, so typically this would be a user. So the user here is the person using the platform, right? The user would have to enter a password. Here we specify the minimum of 8 letters with special characters, and they would re-enter their password and confirm. We check if the password is the same and valid, and basically if it's no, the same thing, an error is reported and the person can try again. But if it's yes, the process moves to another part of the flow. And the same, we basically continue on such a journey until the process ends, right? We continue on such a journey until the process ends. and the user can access their dashboard, which is basically the end point of this particular process. Now, this is one thing you can do with Visio. Another thing that you can do with Visio is something we call use case diagrams. And I'll quickly try and find if I have an example here that I can, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's look at this one. No, this is not the, okay. All right. This is a use case diagram, right? And typically what we use the use case diagram for is to identify the parts that each user in the, or we call them actors, each actor in the use case. And what is a use case? It's basically the interactions that each actor would have on the system, right? The interactions that each actor will have on the system. So we typically would, identify who these actors are, right? And this is usually through our requirement gathering and things that we do to find out who are our stakeholders and then how are they going to interact with our system. And basically we start to identify, what are the things that they will do, each of those actors. And typically the connections to that particular actor shows you the main things that this actor would do. And we have something we have an extent and we have also an include. So for example, here an include would mean that when you input your delivery address, you also need to choose basically the delivery option, right? And this would, the system would also assign a delivery reference number. The same thing here, the third-party delivery team would have to impute their reference number. They would also need to be able to change the status of basically the order. So this is at a very high level. This is basically us identifying, okay, what each person can do on the system, right? Without getting into further details on that. So the two examples that I showed are some of the things. There are so many other functionalities that a tool like Visio would give you. And then I will move on to a system that is quite similar to Visio in that you can do similar things. I.e., for example, you see like here, even though it's quite small, you can see that there was sort of a construction of I think this was a use case diagram. But one of the things that currently is not very easy to do on Visio that you can do on a tool like Lucid. And why would someone use Lucid? We use Lucid for it's on the web. Visio, you would have to have it on your laptop. You have to have it downloaded. But Lucid is on the web. It permits for more interactions and stuff like that. But I'll just show you an example of something that a business analyst might do with Lucid. And bear in mind, this also includes the things that how will I put it? The things that other things that you can do on Visio, which also you can do here. So here, this is a system, right? I'm not going to identify what the system is, but let's just say it's a system, right? And on Visio, you can construct something we call an ERD diagram. And an ERD diagram is basically a diagram that shows the data flow of within a system, the data flow within a system. And we have this, the things at the top that you see here, we refer to them as entities. And typically, those are treated as individual components within a system. And those entities will typically have something we'll call objects. So each of the things that you have here are the objects. And typically they would also have a key, and we will have something that unifies each of those entities. And sometimes it can be a user ID, but in this case, it's a primary key. For example, here is the event ID that unifies this. And for example, we have these are, I think they're called concatenalities or something like that. Yeah. But typically what they do is to show the relationship that that each entity has with another entity. So for example, here we have a one-to-many relationship. And what that simply means is that for each candidate can have, one candidate can, in this case, have multiple orders. This is a one-to-one relationship. Each session is tied to each candidate. That is what it means. And for this one, for example, it's not, we call it a zero to many. So it does not need to be tied together. It's not a one-to-one relationship. It's not a one-to-many relationship. It can literally be that there can still be a slot without an exam, if I can put it that way. You can have an exam existing as an entity without a slot, because a slot in this case is only, a slot becomes active or related to this only at the point that the slot has been committed to an exam, if I put it that way. So this is also high level. There are a lot of technicalities in understanding what this is or what this can be used for. However, this is used to understand how the API, the backend of an application might be written. What data is going to be required? How is that data going to flow? How is that data going to talk to one another? This is typically what we would do with a use case diagram, and typically we use Lucid for this. Another tool that I am going to look into will be Miro. And I'll show us what Miro is used for.
So before I go into Miro, there's another tool which is Draw.io. Draw.io. That's another, it's very similar to Lucid. It's free if you want to go and play around with it. If it's, again, it's free. It's very similar to Visio, and you can start to practice like process flows for anyone that is interested.
Okay. Awesome. I mean, there's Balsamic. We have quite a number of tools that are quite similar. Another tool that I'm going to show us is something called Miro. Now, Miro does a lot of things, right? So I'm just showing snippets of things that can be done using a particular system. But one of the things that Miro excels at is it excels at collaboration, meaning that I could literally invite all of you to this board, and we can collaborate and work on this together. So as business analysts, when we are holding our workshops, Miro is one tool to basically help make things, quite interactive and stuff. Now, for this particular client, I was evaluating what we call their customer journey. And what is customer journey? Customer journey is simply all the things that the customer will have to do, right, whilst interacting with your business or with your product. So in this case, I'm using Miro to basically, I used Miro to construct what a typical customer journey for this particular client looks like. And one of the things that we can start to see at whilst undertaking a customer journey is that we can start understanding, okay, what are the actions that they took? What are the needs and pains that they might have? What are the touch points that they had whilst using this whilst using our product, and how were they feeling whilst they were experiencing that particular, how were they feeling at that time? And also, what are some of the opportunities that we can derive from that? And as you can see, I took a business, what will cause for this particular client, what will cause someone to even start to explore, using them. For example, here is someone is starting a DIY project. The need is that they want a way to hire equipment. Also, the pain point is that they don't want to buy an equipment and that they will only be using for once or twice. At this point, they are still happy. They've seen an advert about it. They're still happy. A friend has recommended. They've seen something from this particular client. Now they start exploring the company's website, they search for equipment, choose category. At this point, without getting into much details, they are a little bit confused because the client has not made it very easy, and they start to register, and the registration process is just so long, and just, there are so many things that they have to do, and it's not very clear. And right now, I'm feeling a bit sad. This one, it's my first time of using the application. It's not intuitive. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling sad and confused. And one of the funny things that happened in this particular project, when I finished this customer journey, I was now privileged to get the actual data, from their analytics on, when customers are dropping off. You see here, we still have, at the start, we still had quite low numbers, but once you started getting to parts of this customer flow where I identified that there is an issue, especially where I was saying that I was very angry, you see there was a 95% drop-off rate. Now, you might not understand how significant this is for a business, but at 95% drop-off rate, if this is a business that is making, let's say, on average, $200 or 200 pounds from each customer, this is huge. This is huge because 95% of their customers start to drop off at this point that I've identified in their process that it's very horrendous. It's hard to understand. It's hard to navigate. So this starts to inform, okay, I've finally gotten into the system. You see, once you've finally gotten into the system, right? Once you've finally gotten into the system, it's not, you see what is happening here: 2% drop-off rate, 9% drop-off rate, 8% drop-off rate. So this can be used to inform the business. Imagine here, look at this. Imagine here, 71,000 people visited within a certain period of time. Only 21,000 people completed. So for a business, this disparity could run into millions and millions of pounds. So these are some of the opportunities or some of the things that you can start to identify when you conduct things like a customer journey. Now, I am going to go back to that initial process flow that we looked at and try to tie that together with the life application of how we might use this. So I've identified this to be process of how I want my system to look like, right? Now, what next do I do with it? Now you can still be talking to your users, or if you are like me to an extent, you can start to deduce what your requirements are here, especially when you know that application, when you've tried it out, when you know what the customer is trying to do. So what next? What next? Now you can go into an app like Jira. Now Jira is a project management, app. And what we use Jira typically for is for good traceability around the project, and we use it to manage. From a business analysis point of view, we are owners of the backlog. We're owners of the backlog. We are responsible for ensuring that requirements are gotten and or are written properly, and we are responsible for ensuring that this board is prioritized, that the developers who are going to work on them on this board, they understand what they are doing, when they are going to do it, and stuff like that. And you see me use this. We're in a very high level session today. You see me using words like RFPA. RFPA here means ready for pre-amigos. And then after, if something has gone through pre-amigos, and I'm going to use some of these words just so that I'll probably prompt some questions to be asked. If I've gotten through pre-amigos, I'll be going to RFP, which is ready for planning. After that, I would be going to RUD. RUD means ready for development. And then when that stuff has been developed, I'll be going to, RUT. Now we can manage these states as we can build the workflow on Jira for any project. We can build the workflow on Jira, and obviously you will need to try to learn more about how all those things work. But one of the primary things that we are in charge of as business analysts is that we groom this backlog. Right. Now, remember I spoke about that choosing your primary purpose, right? So it is in this Jira that we would start to define what each of those requirements are. Now, for example, here, as a user, when I click on the sign up button, then navigate me to the next page to choose my primary purpose on the app. Now, for example, we have the acceptance criteria and basically the selection options. Now we write, typically in modern times, I've seen that most acceptance criteria are written in what we call Gherkin syntax. So it's given when then. So given I clicked on the sign up button, when the page loads, then give me the option to choose my primary purpose. And here, my primary purpose are to hire, to find jobs, to network. And AC2 is error message. Given I have not selected a primary purpose, when I try to proceed, then display an error message prompting me to select a primary purpose. AC3 successfully selected a primary purpose. Basically, given I've successfully selected a primary purpose, when I click on proceed, then navigate me to the next page to add my details. Now, this is where I think that AI comes in, right? This is why, and we're going to now move into AI proper. And I'm going to show you one of the things or some of the things that you can do with AI. And I'll probably use this one, right? You see, I've already written the user stories, but I will try to break the AI, or try to make the AI not do it properly. Pretend I'm not a business analyst, and you see the difference with when I use my skills as a business analyst to get these requirements from an AI. So I will open my AI tool, if you give me a second. It was on this one I did the Visio. It's not on this one. Okay, let me open ChatGPT and try to act like I'm not a business analyst. Awesome. Who is understanding what we're doing so far? So give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you're understanding some of what we are doing. You're liking it. Awesome. 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 So let's say I was a normal user who had seen this process, you know, and I've seen that, oh, someone would need to enter their name, right? Here I said name, so it covers their first name and last name. So I'm just a user. I can say, I can come here and I maybe have had the word requirement. I can say to AI, write me a requirement for a system where I have to enter my first name and last name. This is what AI is. They're thinking of. They're thinking of what to say at the moment. So the AI is writing the requirement, and this is non-business analyst, right? This is the non-business analyst level of prompt, you know, and the AI wrote, the system shall require the user to enter their first and last name upon registration or login. The first name and last name fields shall be separate and mandatory for submission. The system shall validate the input for both fields, contains only alphabetic characters, and is not left blank. The system shall also have a mechanism for handling special characters such as hyphens, apostrophes in the names. Now, to an extent, this is understandable. However, it's not very usable. It does not meet a criteria we call invest, right? This is very it's very broad, right? And it's saying a lot here. It's not easy to test. Now, the difference with a business analyst who can use AI to write requirements, I will, to make it faster, maybe I should try. Okay, let me, yeah.
Another 2 more minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
Other people can ask questions, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
all right. Let me just write let me write it as a business analyst, right? I would say rewrite the requirement as a user story as a user story, and writes the acceptance criteria are in Gherkin syntax, for example. Gherkin syntax. In Gherkin syntax, make the acceptance criteria scenario based. Scenario based. Consider scenario-based. Consider accessibility, mobile responsiveness, yeah, consider accessibility, mobile responsiveness, and
that's enough. We get the gist. At least,
okay, yeah. Okay, let's run this now, right? Let's run this and just see the difference in what it can bring up.
everybody's getting like, what? I mean, that's what I saw. The first time I saw ChatGPT answer questions, I was like, wow. But it's pretty impressive.
All right. For example, now as a business analyst, let me just check quickly if it's considered. Okay, yeah, it considers special characters. Did it consider obviously names cannot be okay. I would say add an acceptance criteria that ensures that numbers cannot be entered in the name fields. Now, guys, I mean, look at what it wrote at the first time, which is basically what a non-business analyst or a business analyst who does not know what they're doing might produce using AI. But as opposed to what a business analyst who knows what they're doing can produce using AI. And this is why I said at the very beginning that AI does not replace us as business analysts, but a business analyst who knows how to use AI potentially can replace people who are just trying to make it by power or by might. Because whilst you write, maybe let's say in a whole day, you can write 5 requirements, and then someone like me shows up to where you work, and now I'm producing 50 requirements in a day. You think I'm performing magic? And obviously, I won't tell them what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope I've been able to cover quite a few tools that we use and show you how you can improve your business analysis journey. If you look at all the scenarios that were covered here and the acceptance criteria, literally you can take this from here and then just put it into your organization's, format or way of writing, maintaining their backlog, and it would fit in, So yeah, I hope I've been able to help you and not confuse you.
Well, thank you. I think that's very helpful. Yeah, I think we've got some questions in the chat. So we have Adeyinka saying, is ChatGPT a solution that businesses across all sectors can adopt, or is it a solution that is perhaps more relevant to a specific segment of the market than others?
Okay.
Well, I think you've had your aha moment, because seeing Mobu type the question in and then the way it came out, it's across all industry, right? It depends. Again, ChatGPT is basically based on the question you ask. If you ask the right question, then you get the right answer. But we don't answer that.
Yeah, it's almost like a elicitation. So it's across. You can use it across all industries. Literally, there are sectors. I mean, us as business analysts, at least our own, we we are still. If it requires knowledge and it requires knowing about the field to get the best result from AI, for example. But there are some sectors right now that literally ChatGPT is a thought leader because you can ask ChatGPT to write you a marketing copy for your customers who you just mentioned the segment literally so copywriters and stuff, there are certain people, certain jobs that are being replaced, right? When you hear Amazon firing 18,000 people, Google letting go, and it all just within the last couple of months, things are happening. So businesses are looking for ways to become more efficient. So and some of these systems are enabling those efficiencies, and this is just the beginning. I wish we had more time, and hopefully we will have more time if if you're part of a Slingstone course. I can show you there are so many other AI tools that are out there, and some of them are just ridiculous in what they can do. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mobu. I have another question. So Emanuela says, this is great. I have a question. What tools do business analysts need in the change management process?
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So in a change management process, for example, one of the key things that, for example, like when we looked at the processes, sometimes when you are managing change, you would have to understand what that change is related to. Obviously, we have 4 key components of every business, which are the people, the process, the data, and the technology. So usually when a change is occurring, it impacts one of these 4 areas. So, and I mean, any of the tools that we use, for example, the customer journey, the process flow, the use case diagrams, all those things can help you, identify who are your stakeholders, who might be impacted in the change that we are trying to make, how are they going to be impacted, and basically, yeah. But generally, for change management, you also have to, because it's very human based or human influence. So you also need to know what you're doing. So and how to manage your stakeholders so that it's one of those areas. It's not an AI area. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Some
not
of
an
the
AI
tools that you can use, let me just add to that. Some of the tools that you can use, Emanuela, is Miro, like how Mobu showed you Miro. You can do a roadmap using Miro in different colors so everybody understands what the change that is coming. Another tool you can use is Visio. You can use use cases with interacting with words. So it's basically using the same tool that we use for listing our requirements or documenting our findings, but we're just using it for a change, flipping it around for the change aspect of it. Okay, so PowerPoint is still very good. It's still a very good tool to do a roadmap, right? That's still a good tool to use. I hope I've answered your question. Another question. ChatGPT, is it free? Yes, Grace, it's free.
For now,
right now it's free.
But they're looking to monetize it very soon. And
so sorry, just quickly add. I've actually with my Slingstone team, we've actually played around with ChatGPT just because, again, as a VA, you want to understand where if you should start pivoting and changing direction. Much as it's a good tool, like Mobu has shown, it can help you work quicker.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's that human aspect is not there. And that's what we do as bees. That's the human-centric part of us. That part of us can never replace. Because Grace is putting in here that to get lots of job redundant. It will do, but not our side. But again, like Mobu has said earlier, if you do not know how to use AI, then you might get replaced. So being open to that technology, understanding technologies that are coming our way and seeing how we can actually start to leverage it to
Start
get
to pivot. Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Any
yes.
other questions?
So yeah.
Okay, wait. Grace, it does way more than that. Let me. Can I share one more thing so that you don't think? Let me just share one more thing.
Can you do process maps for you, Hello?
Let me share one more thing. But can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. Let me try one more thing. Can you write me a HTML and CSS code for a page using the requirement and acceptance criteria above. Okay. This is okay, let me regenerate the response. Okay, I'm not sure it will take me back to that particular screen. But anyway, I'll add a link. There was a video I did on this. Literally, right? You can go from the requirement to writing the code in different languages. You can write the HTML, you can write all the code, literally. I wrote the code in JavaScript, and then I rewrote the code in React Native, and all this in 10 minutes. I would paste the link in the.
Well, if it's a like greenfield, like requirements have never been done, it's not going to have it, is it? Because it's just AI is what is being fed. Well, if it's like a greenfield project that it's just really quite new.
No, AI though, and AI uses artificial intelligence. So, and you have to understand that AI is feeding from an amount of data that is not available to, that is not, the data it has is just, it's just insane. So sometimes, and that's the amazing thing about AI, is it can come up with things. If it doesn't know, it doesn't know, right? And some of them will tell you, but it can come up with things, and it might not be the exact answer, but it might be, it might steer you in the right direction, which is what sometimes you might need. Yeah.
Because when you say greenfield, though, what exactly is greenfield? Everything, nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of things are hardly greenfield because it's just always like a distant. But I'm just saying, if it's something, it's not really obviously, because I know obviously I wonder where they get the wealth of data from. Obviously, it's a lot of.
That's what it's so that's another thing. I know what you're thinking, and that's been mind-boggling, because it's not like Google. I don't know. I thought it was Google or Bing, but it's not actually getting the data from there. It's almost like it's like a black hole.
Well, where is that black hole coming from? It's still a lot of data.
So no, it can source its data from all around the web. That's one thing. And also, the company is less than 5. I mean, they only launched less than 5 weeks
November,
ago.
yeah.
And already they are worth $29 billion. Microsoft has offered, is buying some parts of their shares for $10 billion. So yeah.
In fact, people are already making money from it. I heard that people have started selling questions, like the right format questions that you can ask ChatGPT to get the answer. So people are making, people are making money. People are buying it just so they can not think about the question and just put it in, and then they can get the answer. So
Yeah.
So it's already a money-making venture for a lot of people.
I'm very fascinated about robotics. Robotics and AI is one of my core fascinations. And if you are like me, you are excited and I'm worried, because the excited part is, we're going to really get efficient, especially if we understand how to use these tools, but worried at the same time for, not necessarily for myself, but for other people, because being mediocre is not going to be good enough in the future. And it's the world that our kids might meet, or the world they're going to have. I mean, we are having these things now, right? But our kids are going to have this from day one, So
yeah, and it's going to change the way they are taught. It's going to change, because it really talks about how do you ensure that people don't just go to ChatGPT and they write them an essay. And so they're thinking about, okay, maybe people have to start to defend, defend rather than, so they'll go, so we the teachers will go to ChatGPT, give you the essay for ChatGPT and ask you to go and defend it, come back and talk to us about it. So people are really thinking about how.
Yeah, but it doesn't take, but it still takes, I don't know, it's worrying as well, because fine, you'll be efficient, but I think it takes away from the human as well. That's intelligence of the human as well. I don't know. I just feel it will also limit.
I don't think it takes away from, I think it adds,
because people will be lazy now. Everything will be charged. You're not learning again. You know how you learn.
You're learning in a different way. So say, for example,
you're not learning, it's just chat and something is helping you. I don't know. I'm worried for our kids, because I'm saying they have everything just there to feed them everything.
So for me, right, it's like having an assistant, a very good assistant.
Exactly. Let's say
really.
But you want to be thinking again, because you can imagine already I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't have to cracking my head writing those requirements.
No, then you would think about other things.
No. But you start thinking of the requirements, because you're not just going to go and dump what a robot told you. You're going to have to be
I know.
generic. What ChatGPT is going to do for it, give you a generic requirement, right? You still have to tweak it to your clients or your stakeholders. And all. And if you don't understand that, so don't think, oh, anybody can now be a BA. No, because you don't understand how to even get your stakeholders need and listen to that need and get the right answer back to them, then it's going to help you.
You still have to follow the typical processes, understand exactly what you are trying to achieve. So AI works better for you when you know what you're doing.
Definitely.
So if you know what you're doing, for me, it's just an efficiency tool, right?
Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying, like, obviously, like, how you would understand what you want, and then you start writing those requirements instead of cracking your brain. I guess it's working smarter, like some.
I will use my brain for something else.
Working smarter than harder.
And then you're talking about our kids. So our kids, I mean, I think for our kids, we have to understand that this is a different.
Yeah, the word is.
So because I hear you, Grace, because the way we learned, you're like, how can they even? I mean, that's them being lazy, but it's not being lazy. It's just a different way of how their brain is going to have to work.
Exactly. And if I can add this just to make it known, and during the time of our parents, right, when the calculator came in, when calculator came in, it was a very big shock within the schooling system, and the school system resists. Now, calculator is a very default way of working, something as simple as calculator. And now we are, rather than using your brain to calculate 495 times 477,777,000, there are people that before you just ask them, I don't need that again. 2 seconds, 2 seconds on a calculator will tell you that. So it's basically we modify the direction of our knowledge. We modify the direction of our learning.
Thank you. We're run by 4 minutes. Apologies for that. Thank you all for your time.
We can take one more question, just in case.
There's another question. If there's any question, let me know. I was actually going to do a quick poll to say, because right now we tend to run our sidebar event last Friday of the month, and we'll think, okay, maybe Friday might not be a great time for everybody. So I'm just going to put a poll real quick. I'm going to launch it to ask you which day of the week you prefer. Please, if you can all answer, it will really help. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing you guys answering it. So, okay, Friday is still winning, 73%.
Okay. Can I do one thing before we go? I'm going to we're going to smile now, right? We're going to smile, and I would like you to I'd like you to take a screenshot, right? Where take a screenshot and basically tag myself, Mobu Eberendu, on LinkedIn or Instagram, and also tag Slingstone Consulting on LinkedIn and Instagram, and tell us what you learned from today's cyber section. So, are we ready? Maybe we should pause. Mrs. Vivian, are you ready? Okay, please take. This is the time to take your screenshots.
Am I the one taking it, or the?
No, they are the ones taking it. Please tell us what you learned tonight. What really stood out to you? Tag Slingstone Consulting and tag myself, Mobu Eberendu. And please follow me if you have further questions. Please do let me know. Yeah.
I'll make it interesting. The most interesting tag will have an hour session with me. Okay.
You see?
Interesting tag will get an hour session with me.
Please, if you haven't done your own, let's pause now. Let's pause well now. So.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you all for your time. Thank you for spending Friday evening with us. Mobu, thank you for opening our eyes to what AI is bringing to our industry and the different tools that we can use. I hope you guys took something away from this. I hope there were lots of new tools, or that, there are lots of tools out there, honestly. We just have to keep learning, really. We might do another session on this, because I think maybe an hour wasn't enough, but I just were able to help tonight. Okay, thank you. Mel, asking for the recording. I think I'll let you know if you can get the recording, because we might put it on our YouTube page. It'll be out there anyways for you to listen to. Okay. Thank you.
Or Ivatich, we should put it on Ivatich.
We might. Ivatich, we have to onboard them. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Rimbo. Thank you, Imelda. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Mobu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mobu. Thanks, Vivian. And Mobu, I'll be reaching out to you for more.
Because
I think you know plenty. I think I need to be tapping from that resource.
I've sent connection requests to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Good night. Thank you. I'll stop recording now.